Why do you need to be able to articulate yourself well to sell a program? Well, it's kind of self-evident, really, isn't it? If you think about it, if you want to be able to convince someone to purchase something from you, you have to demonstrate that you are an expert in that thing. And so I've always been the kind of person who isn't satisfied with just knowing how to do something. I want to know the why, the what, the wherefore, the how does it work, the how is it put together, the what does it affect, what are the effects, what will happen if I do this, what will happen if I do this. Whenever I go through something, or whenever I learn something, or whenever I take something on, I want to be the best that I can possibly be at that thing. And I go deep into research. Like I did this with everything. I did it with parenting. When I had a child, I wanted to know what is the best possible way that I can bring up this child. I researched the developing brain. I researched how to help my kids become smarter, more critical thinking, how languages affected the developing brain, how music affected the developing brain. I researched co-sleeping and gentle parenting and authoritarian parenting and cry it out techniques. And I looked at everything. Before I made a decision, I looked at every single thing that I could find that would help me to gather more data, to be more informed, to make the best possible decision that I could make. That's what I do in everything. Whenever I started training, I remember my trainer saying to me that it was really important to eat carbs after training. And I said to him, why? And he said, well, to fuel the muscle. And I said, but how do carbs fuel the muscle? And he said, they just give it energy. It's for building and repairing. And I was like, but how? Like, I want to know, how does the muscle utilize the carb? What is the exact process? And he said to me, I really don't know. So I went away and I researched, and I found out that whenever you start to train, you have GLUT4 receptors on the surface of the muscle cell. And those GLUT4 receptors open to be able to receive more glucose to convert into glycogen from the bloodstream, if it's available, to fuel your workouts. The GLUT4 receptors on the surface of the muscle cell remain open the whole time that you're training. And they stay open even after you've trained, because your body doesn't know whenever you've set down the last dumbbell. So if you eat a very high glycemic, fast-acting carb, preferably one with high osmolality, which means that it's absorbed through the intestinal wall very, very quickly, if you eat that directly after training, because the GLUT4 receptors on the surface of the muscle cell are open, they will absorb more of the fast-acting carbs than they would if the GLUT4s were closed. Because what happens is whenever you eat, your body triggers to your pancreas to start secreting insulin. Insulin is a storage hormone. Your body also signals to your muscles and to your fat cells to open the GLUT4s on the surface to receive the nutrients that are coming. So the muscle cells open and the fat cells open. If you're training, the GLUT4s on the surface of the muscle cell are open, but they're not open on the surface of the fat cell because your body doesn't need to store any glycogen in there while you're training. So if you eat a fast-acting carb directly after training, your body will store more of the glycogen in the muscle directly after training. Why is that important? Well, the more glycogen the muscle has, the faster it will heal and repair, and the better it will grow and the stronger it will become. So I wasn't satisfied with just knowing why I should eat carbs after training because it helps to build big muscle. I wanted to know the how, the what, and the wherefore of how eating carbs after training help develop muscle growth. I think though, whenever you are obsessed with something, and I do become obsessed with everything that I take on, I become absolutely obsessed and I go down the rabbit hole with it. But whenever you are highly motivated to learn, and then you love sharing that knowledge with other people, you will automatically become more of an expert. You basically want to become an expert in something. And whenever you become an expert in something and you teach it to others, you make yourself more plausible and more believable. Like, people want to buy from an expert. They want to buy from someone who looks like they know what they're talking about. They want to buy from someone who can demonstrate to them that they have a deep knowledge, not only an experience, but also a deep knowledge and intellectual understanding as well as a physical understanding of what it is that they're teaching. People trust trainers more who can demonstrate that they know what they're talking about. And whenever you can break something down into very, very small components and create it and teach it in such a way that it's really easy to understand, like even for a child, that means you are truly an expert at something. And it means that people are more likely to sit up and pay attention to you because you're not confusing them. So that's why it's important to become an expert at anything that you sell.